Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As much as we can, we'll call ourselves to order. I'm Bill Bird. I serve on the Rothermel Foundation Board, and on behalf of the board and the Presbyterian Church, I'm pleased to invite you here today and to welcome you, and we hope that you will go away feeling that you have been blessed. We live in a world, look around us, it's a beautiful world out there, and it's awfully difficult sometimes for those of us who live in this kind of environment to realize that there are other places in the world. There are places embedded in the fabric of our globe where they don't enjoy as much safety and security as we enjoy here. And today we're going to talk about some of those things and to let ourselves know that we are not free of the responsibility to make the world a better place for all of us, not just those of us who happen to be blessed to live in Newbern, North Carolina. So, I will just remind us that there are lots of forces in the world that drive insecurity, that drive hatred, that drive situations in which makes life a lot less than it needs to be or that it should be. And we will explore some of those. These are driven by such things as ethnicity, nationalism, geography, religion, personal agendas. There are lots of things that get in the way for some of our brethren around the world to be able to enjoy a life that's as good as it could and should be. These forces that exist out there, and you could add to my list, I just made a quick thinking about what I would say in introducing our program for today. These forces drive bipolar reactions around the world. And they drive, for example, bastions of love versus hate. They focus of selflessness versus selfishness among people of the world. And they drive acceptance and rejection. These are things that work to make our lives less than they should be. And I should, in the ultimate polarity that happens, is the difference in peace and war. And so as we try to understand these things, we understand that there are forces that make it happen. And there are those among us who have experienced firsthand much of this difficulty with which we as a people of the world must take responsibility and strive to make it better. And so we're going to hear from our visitor, Dr. Izzeldin Abuelaish, here today. And he has had some extraordinary experiences, and we can all benefit from hearing what he will have to say and share with us. Before I bring forth someone to introduce him to you, I will just tell you a little bit about housekeeping. Restrooms are in the building directly behind us. That's our ministry center. They're both first and second level on the front side, facing the courtyard. The program this afternoon will consist of hearing from Dr. Abuelaish, and then having an intermission. And the intermission will be in the session house, which is just to your right as you go out the back of the building here. And there will be some refreshments provided there. There will also be an opportunity there to purchase a book that is offered by our speaker today, if you would like to be able to carry that home with you. And I would also remind you finally, in a way of housekeeping, that you were all given a white card when you came in, and that will give you an opportunity to put some questions that you would like to give some discussion of in the third part of our program, and that is after the intermission, we'll come back to this part. And then we will be able to, Dr. Abuelaish will entertain questions, and that session will be provided by Linda Snow. And we will try to get as many of the questions as you those, and we will make some effort as we pass. try to put them in categories so we can speak around the general subjects in which you have an interest in knowing more about. I guess that's pretty much all I need to say to you this afternoon. I'm going to ask Ann Buster if she will come forward now and introduce our speaker.
You just heard Dr. Bird give you my name, and I'm on the board representing Christ Episcopal Church on the Rothermel Foundation. It is such a pleasure for me this afternoon to introduce to you Dr. Izzeldin Abuelaish, a Palestinian doctor who trained and worked in an Israeli hospital as an obstetrician gynecologist in Beersheba, Israel. Dr. Abuelaish firmly believes that medicine can bridge the divide between Palestine and Israel. I was first introduced to Dr. Abuelaish through his book, I Shall Not Hate. This book had such a profound effect on me that I decided to approach the Rothermel Foundation and ask them if they thought it would be possible for us to bring him to Newburgh. And here he is. During his life, Dr. Abuelaish has had some amazing experiences to learn and study in a myriad of countries worldwide. He has received much recognition, many awards and honors thus far. Dr. Abuelaish holds more than 10 honorary degrees, which he has received from institutions around the world. All of this acclaim has come his way because of a conscious decision he made when he was 6 years old. He decided that he wanted to get an education because he saw it as a privilege. Not many of us have two resumes, a short one and a long one, nor have we been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. Abuelaish shows passion, compassion, and dedication to improve the human condition. These traits make him an extraordinary physician. When you hear his story, you will marvel at his forgiving spirit and the grace which he demonstrates every single day. Dr. Abuelaish, welcome to the Rothermel and to Newburgh.
Thank you so much. From this holy place and the blessed one that you came from goodwill, with good spirit, open hearts, open minds, and thanks to all of you who were able to make it in this beautiful day, to make it as a priority in your life. This gives me hope. Just we need to act and to do and to communicate to make it happen. As Anne mentioned, this event, it started by writing me an email more than a year, and today we make it. So one of the lessons we need to learn, and that's what I learned from my daughters. Today, I am reminded by my son who mentioned at the age of 14, everything starts small, then becomes big. Everything starts in one place, and then it goes in different directions. So today's event started by one, and you see how many people are here. It starts in this holy place, this small venue, but after we finish, it can reach everywhere in this world. So it's a promising, hopeful event, and that's why I am here, to share with you this hopeful message and to be inspired by you. Conflict and violence affect all communities in this world. And the world is endemic with violence, injustice, diseases, poverty, and hatred. It's not a community threat, it's a global threat. And all countries, people, men, and mainly women and the children, are impacted by these endemic diseases. 9 out of 10 violent deaths occur outside the conflict. We need to evaluate and understand the size and cost of violence in human beings. It's a destructive disease to all societies, and we need to admit and give it the right care it deserves. We need the truth and face it with courage and determination to contain it and to prevent it, not to watch it. We need to practice and advocate the globalization of conflict and violence, as well as a globalization of health and the human peace. In our life, we all face hardships, challenges, ups and downs, tragedies. But most important, we want to discover ways to be able to learn and find calmness inside ourselves. For a better world, for ourselves and others, we need to learn and to practice to challenge ourselves instead of challenging each other, to work for a just a human world, and always to ask yourself, what is the greatest challenge to our success in this world? Are we safer or more secure these days? No. Question yourself whether you want to run and hide by ignoring the problem, or to integrate yourself and cooperate with others. There are serious challenges facing the world, but I believe there is no greater challenge than the lack of personal responsibility. Everyone's responsibility, taking personal responsibility, transcends the circumstances and situation in which we find ourselves. I was challenged the whole of my life. And my life as a Palestinian refugee was a war. Till these days, I felt, until now, I was born fighting just to survive. To survive and to overcome the misery of life. As a Palestinian child, I never tasted my childhood. Just living the misery, abject poverty, deprivation, suffering. In the time we see others in this world who are living to fight. And we need to ask, where we were born to live and to give life to others, or to fight each other. God created us from Adam and Eve, and we became nations and the tribes. For what? To know each other. And knowing is not just to know the name or the face. Knowing is deeper than that. Is to connect with each other, to show passion, respect to each other. When you know someone, you can read them from their eyes. You feel them, they don't need to talk in order to know. So it's time to open our hearts and to know each other and to collaborate with each other. But I realized from my early childhood that the suffering in this world and my suffering is man-made. I fully believe that God wants every good thing for us. No one on earth loves us as God. I believe in that, and I will continue to believe in it. And that this suffering in this world and what is happening is man-made. And what makes the evil to flourish is the good people who are the majority of this world are watching it. I said to myself, I don't accept it. That's the hope. It's man-made. I can't challenge God. But I can challenge this man-made suffering by not accepting it and taking responsibility. And life is what we make it. Always has been, always will be. It's in our hands. We can shape our life the way we want once we started to take that responsibility. So as a child, I took that responsibility. As life also increased my aches, pain, and suffering, at the same time, life amplified my maturity, awareness, strength, and did not allow all the difficulties to kill my dreams. I found myself in a life as a challenging, as a raging and wild ocean. And in this world, someone can deprive, can oppress, can occupy, can imprison, can torture, but no one can prevent any of us from dreaming. And every great dream begins with a dreamer. I dreamed as a child I want to be a medical doctor. And thanks to my parents, after they lost everything, they became refugees, but they didn't lose hope. They realized that their life and the hope is in their children. And they have to succeed from nothing. And the only way is through education. Always to remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world. We as Palestinians, we harbor no desire for revenge, and we don't hate anyone on earth. We are people, as you are, with potential, with hopes, with dreams. We are people who want to succeed, live and be free. And we want others at the same time to be free. Freedom must not stop at the borders of the Palestinians. We don't want to delete anyone. We want to be added and join this world as others. Life, in spite of all what I suffered, in spite of all the challenges I faced, because no one on earth have been tested as Palestinians. Until now, we are tested on a daily basis, but we will keep moving. And we will never allow these challenges to break or defeat us. As Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep balanced, we must keep moving. We will keep moving faster, stronger, more determined, not to give up or to look backwards, but to learn the lessons of the past. And there are two kinds of people in this world. Those who divide the world into two kinds of people, and those who don't, or those who are divided. Don't be among this group of people who divide or to be divided. We are equal, we are human, and we are similar, and we want to live as one. As I mentioned, my life was a war. But what is war? That we see it all of the time. And conflict that we talk about, and we see it around, arises when we violate someone's honor and dignity, and destroy both their self-esteem and self-respect. These socio-economic diseases, hatred, poverty, diseases, violence, conflict, they cross barriers. And we see it. Violence, or what we call terrorism, it crosses barriers. No one is far from it because we live in a small world. And we all are impacted, either directly or indirectly, by what is going on in any part of the world. Conflict is the result of mistrust and suspicion. And the structural conflict or violence is caused by a variety of external factors that are rarely in the control of the individuals involved in the conflict. They were not part of it, as poverty, discrimination, and equity. The structural violence is the strategy these days of war in modern and civilized 21st century. Even though we are now in the 21st century, it seems that humankind has not learned the lessons of the past. We still have nations, countries, dominating, oppressing, and occupying others. We still have parties, factions, media, groups who want to control how people think and how they live. That's why we still have war and conflict around the globe, and the world is endemic with them. This violence is filling every corner of our world. At homes, in the streets. But how much of war do we know and see through the media? How much of the suffering in this world do we know about? Is war the soldier who is killed or wounded? Or the innocent, a child, daughter, mother, or the old man or woman? War is about our children, our grandchildren, dying before they are fully adults, or being disfigured, wounded, or mentally scarred for life. We hear and see just the numbers. It's time to look at people as people, not numbers. There are people like us. It's shame to see human beings as numbers or statistics. They have names, they have faces, they have hopes, they have plans, they have parents, they have a future, and they have life. And it's time to see them as a human. People are people and are equal, to be judged not by political interest. And we should not be part of it, but be part to expose it. War is about hundreds of thousands of human beings dying years before their time. It's our children seeing their bodies, limbs blown off their bodies. It's millions of people separated forever from the ones they loved. The physical costs are easier to see in war. It's the children who are abruptly become orphans and the human suffering that no one can measure it or feel it. War for me is a genocide. War is a torture. It's a propaganda. It's dishonesty and the slavery of humanity. War and injustice are not just to be documented or to be watched, but to be prevented. And that's what I learned as a doctor. To prevent diseases, not to manage or watch diseases. There is no humanitarian holy war. Only peace is sacred and the humanitarian. When war ends, all will celebrate the victory. But there is no victory in the war. All are losers. If victory is not built at the expense of innocent human beings, is it a victory if hatred, animosity, bloodshed, pain and fear are increased? Is it a victory which produces orphans and destruction and wound the souls that will never heal? As a wounded father who lost beloved children, I feel the suffering of all human beings. And we are here to learn and to act to stop the bloodshed and restore the lost hope for a better world, for a better future for all, built on equality and justice. War is a defeat and failure to overcome our arrogance, our ignorance of ourselves and others, our fear. It has been said, every gun that is made, every rocket that is fired, signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and not clothed. A nation that continues years after years to spend more money on military defense than on programs for social uplift is approaching spiritual death. We don't want to reach that point. I see violence, even hatred, as a complex disease that attacks humankind. Violence and the protracted conflict should be viewed as a disease. And any disease, it has the causes behind it. And we don't treat symptoms, we treat diseases. So I always encourage you, when you see something wrong, don't blame the doer. Ask why. 5 times why. No one is born violent. No one is born sick. It's about the environment and the causes which lead to these diseases. And in medicine, we focus on the prevention of these diseases. We need to focus on the causal relationship between the disease and the exposure. So it's the result of exposure. And if we want to heal, if we want to cure our people, we need to go backwards and to focus on the exposures and to put an end to these exposures. And some define war as armed conflicts that causes more than 1,000 battle deaths per calendar per year. And what about the innocent people who are outside the battlefield, where the majority, 90% of the casualties of any war are outside the battlefield. They are women and the children. They are innocent people. Even if it is about the soldiers, if it is 950, it's not a war. For me, killing one is killing the world. Saving one is saving the world. It's about a human life. The most precious thing in the universe. The most blessed creature by God. You are the inheritance of our world. God created us, and we must value that. So we need to value human life. How simple is the war when we see it with the glasses, or from behind the glass and the window. They don't know that the war is not raging fire in the cavities of the cannons, but in the hearts, minds, and souls of the people and their ideas. War has much larger costs to a society, especially to women and the children who lost a loved one and therefore left to go in a warring country or a raging life. But when we come to peace, what is peace? Peace is not a war. It's a way of life. And it's not about my peace as Izzeldin. It's about the collective peace. I am not in peace as long as you are not. I am not free as long as you are not. It's about the humankind, freedom and peace. For me, the humankind as the human body. If one cell is suffering in our human body, the whole body will suffer as a result of the disease. So we want to work together as a human, as connected, as brothers and sisters for our freedom and peace. What can be done? Peace is an action, as I said, to believe in it and work for it. When you advocate for peace for others, it's your peace, it's your freedom. The more we sweat for peace, the less we bleed in war. So we need to act and to work more in order to have the peace and the real life we want. Peace, health, freedom, and education, they depend on who you are and where you are. For any human being, freedom is essential, is crucial to our dignity and our ability to be fully human. Freedom of sickness, freedom of need, freedom of oppression, freedom to run a normal, free life, freedom of movement. But at the same time, I am not free as long as you are not. So we must stand for the freedom of all in our world. Peace is a peaceful relationship between humans and the humans. But also, it's a peaceful basis between the humans and the environment and the earth on which we live. Because the war on the earth environment is the eternal tragedy that we need to protect. While the tragedies of the most deadly wars in human history time can help to exceed it. And any free person in this world will refuse to die in silence. No one is going to die in silence, and we must show that life is precious and that none is ignored or considered unworthy of a secure and a prosperous life. We need to invest more and cooperate in order to achieve the security, freedom, and justice for all. I understand and realize the meaning of suffering and loss, the loss of loved ones, safety and security. Also, I understand and feel the suffering of our Israeli neighbors, Syrians, Iraqis, Africans, and the Americans who have lost loved ones, and they live in fear. I learned as a physician what life and death actually mean. When a person dies, I saw the hope in the newborn baby I delivered. I was the first Palestinian doctor to practice medicine in an Israeli hospital because I believed in it. Because medicine and health, it has one face, it has one culture, one value. It's a human face, value, and culture and value. The happiest moment in my life when I handed the baby to his mother. The cry of the newborn baby is a cry of hope. A new life is coming. There is no difference between the cry of the newborn Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Druze, Bedouins. It's a cry of a new hope and life. Always I was thinking, what a future is waiting for this newborn baby. At the same time, I saw the death and the killing of my daughters and the death of my wife. And number 16 is printed in my mind. 16 of September is the day when I lost my wife of acute leukemia. I thought and I believe it's the end of the world, the loss of a beloved one. Because my weak point in my life was my mother, and the orphan is the one who loses the mother. The loss of the beloved one, the mother, is the big heart. The mother is the incubator. I have to move forward. I kept working, and thanks to my daughters who supported me. In particular, my daughter Nisan, who was the eldest daughter, who said, count on God and our support, and continue your work. I continued my work in Israel, and I learned from my children. So I encourage you to listen to your children and the grandchildren. They are wise enough to teach us, not to underestimate them. They know and they hear and they see what is in the closed rooms, and they are honest because they express what do they feel. My daughter Nisan was in the final year at the university, and she took the role of the mother. She came to say to me, as most of our children, the nightmare when they have academic exams, she said, I found out that academic exams are the easiest exams in life. The most difficult exams are life exams. The tragedies we face in life. For her, the loss of her mother, the beloved one. And as I said, we as Palestinians, we are tested on a daily basis. And then 16th of January 2009 is the day when I saw my daughters killed in front of my eyes. For nothing they did. They were girls, young women. I raised them to be human, to advocate for humanity, to be peaceful makers, and to spread wisdom. I armed them with education. If I have 100 of them, I thank God. And I will continue to thank God for what He gave me and what He took from me. Because we are trust. and we are God's children and daughters. I don't want anyone on earth to see what did I see. These beautiful, bright girls, they became birds, drowning in their blood. I wanted to see them. At least to feel and to fill my eyes by seeing them. I can't recognize them. Where is Bisan, who was 20? Where is Mayar, who was 15? Where is Aya, who was 14? Where is Noor, my niece, who was 16? Mayar was decapitated. But at that moment, the world was watching what is happening as we watch what is happening these days in the world. As a faithful Muslim, I directed my face to the one who is awake, to the one who is listening, to the one who is opening his eyes and watching us. I directed my face to God. That's why during the holy tragedy, I didn't, and thanks God to give me the strength, the wisdom, the patience to say and to ask support and help from only God. And that's what I said. Oh God, oh Lord, He is the one to whom we can count, and He will be close to us before anyone else. And from that moment, I swore to God and swore to my daughters that I believe one day I will meet them. I will never give up. I will never rest or relax till I meet them one day with a big gift. It's the justice for them and others, and that their holy souls and noble blood wasn't waste. It made a difference in others' lives. But which means, is it the bullet which was used to kill them? Can say to you, military means and bullets are the weapon of the weak. And bullet kills once. We have a stronger means, but we need to use our means. It's our wisdom, our education, our kind, courageous words to say the right word in time, and the good deeds. And these are the weapons we want to use. And I continued moving because, as I said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep balance, we have to keep moving. I kept moving faster, stronger, more determined, not to give up or to look backwards, but to learn the lessons. Don't blame others. We can shape our life and make it what we want to be. Take responsibility for everything in your life and move forward. To look around, to ask, to learn, connect with each other and act. I succeeded in my life. From Jabalia camp, to Cairo University, to London, to Italy, to Belgium, to Harvard. Everything I planned in my life, I succeeded to achieve. I was scratching in rocks. I wasn't born with a golden spoon in my hand. It took time, but I achieved it. And I taste it. I am proud of it. Even these days, with what did I achieve in my life? I send it to my beloved mother, father, daughters, that they didn't enjoy it And always, I would love for a second, if they can come up from their graves to see and to be proud of their son. But they are gone. But I will keep that message for them and to send them prayers and the blessings and good deeds. And they will be kept alive inside my heart through my life. I succeeded, achieved it. And nothing is impossible in life. That's what I learned. Nothing is impossible. The only impossible thing in life I believe in is to return my beloved ones back. But I am determined to keep them alive in your hearts, in your minds, in your souls, in your life, to connect with you. At the same time, I will never forget from where did I come. I was born in Jabalia camp. That there are millions of Palestinians and non-Palestinians in this world who are suffering the same. I succeeded in my life to achieve my goals. What can I do to help the people who are waiting behind? To take their message, to be the voice of these people. They are waiting for all of us to give them a hand, to rescue them, to support them. I don't want anyone to face what did I face in my life. I don't want to see a child deprived of his childhood. Our enemies in this world is not you or any other human being. They are our ignorance of ourselves and others, our arrogance, our greed and fear. No one can be ignorant and be free. So we need to learn in order to be free, to connect with each other. I wrote my book, I Shall Not Hate, because the people were thinking, after what I experienced in life, I will be drowning in an ocean of hatred. But I learned, as the great Lebanese poet Khalil Gibran said, tenderness and kindness are not signs of weakness and despair, but manifestations of strength and resolution. We don't want to be silent or violent, because hatred is a silent disease, which will be translated into violence. And hatred is a fire. It's a poison. It's a self-destructive disease to the one who is impacted with it. And it's contagious to the beloved ones surrounding you. It's a heavy burden which keeps you and prevents you from moving. It makes the one who is impacted blind and paralyzed. I felt I want to be lighter, to move forward, and to build a shield around this destructive disease called hatred. I will never allow it, in order to achieve the promise I gave to my daughters. I kept it, and also I learned from my daughter Nisan, who said to meet violence with violence doesn't solve the problem. In life, we face challenges. So don't accept in life to be a victim more than once. I don't want to be a victim with this destructive disease called hatred. We can, in this world, find solutions to our endemic injustice, death, hatred. I fully believe that we have the knowledge We have the knowledge, the talent, the strength, but we need the goodwill from all of us to make the world a better one by sharing our humanity and to realize that there are no passengers on the spaceship Earth. We all are a crew. How much would it cost to feed the world? Not as much as it needs to bomb it. As I said, no one is far from rest because we all live and ride one boat. And to remind those who are watching from outside, at the times of the Nazis, Martin Niemöller, who was a German Protestant theologist, he said they came first. They came first for the communists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the Catholic. I didn't speak out because I wasn't a Catholic. Then they came for me. Sadly, by that time, no one was left to speak up to. How many people are going to die till we wake up and to speak out? It's time to speak out. Because, as I said, we all are facing one risk. We need to resume the trust in this international justice system. We need to heal our people and to close the wound completely. It's time to do something. It's urgent. It's urgent, and nothing is impossible. We want to have the willingness and enthusiasm to face and overcome the challenges and take a chance again and again. This will help us to achieve the peace that we believe in. And light is the truth, and education is the light. So we need to be educated and to have the knowledge. Truth is the right diagnosis. We need to have the right diagnosis to our problems. Not to take it in a superficial way. We need to dig deeper to find the truth. Because once we have the right truth, which is the right diagnosis, we can set up the right treatment and to heal our people. Honesty and the truth mean doing the right thing in the right way at the right time. Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our human brothers, sisters, and friends, to promote the collective freedom of all from oppression, discrimination, fear, hunger, disease, occupation, and injustice. Freedom comes with responsibility and action, and work together and have a collective response to our challenges. We are born in this world, and we live and we die by the end of the day. That's the basic human life cycle. What we do in between and whether our death is simply our fading away, or if there is the resonance of our actions will continue to ring in the ears of the living, is what distinguishes us